Yo, dudes, B-Man and Nick from Verdicks. Thanks for coming back. We knew you would. Today, Nick and I are going to give just a brief overview of goal setting. It's something that the two of us have implemented this year, along with two of our other friends from Verdicks, Joe and Denny. Nick has been setting goals for himself for quite some time. And when I was a younger man, I was much better at it, but hadn't been. And I really needed a carrot in front of me to kind of get me through some hard times. And goal setting this year, starting in January, has really paid off. We have different methods about going about it. We have goals set in different directions of our life. We don't really talk too much about how to go about achieving them. I think part of setting goals is putting it out into the ether and then letting those opportunities set themselves up and following your path. Nick has been instrumental in helping me follow my goals. Having somebody who holds you accountable is always helpful. And tonight, we're just going to talk casually about my goals, and Nick's going to give you his method for how he manages his goals.
Sure. So once again, thanks for joining us. I should preface this with, I am not an expert. And
yeah, me neither.
What works for me may not work for you. And, some of this may seem familiar because I tend to take who I think are some of the smartest people out there, like Goggins, like a Tim Ferriss, like a Warren Buffett, and kind of see what they do and kind of mold that into my own method of madness.
Yeah.
And so I'll go through like what I think are 5 pretty solid steps to set goals. And, it may work for you. It may not. You can take bits and pieces that you like and you can throw out the rest. Step number 1 for me has always been to slow down and focus. You have to get to a quiet space where you can be alone and free of distractions. You want to take this serious. You really have to think about this. If you are committed to achieving goals, they should be something that is well thought out, worthwhile, not just your generic, like, hey, I want to get a better job, or I want a new car. Those things are all great. And who doesn't want them? But that's not a very well thought out goal. And in the end, that sort of goal that is, I don't want to say superficial, but is based on a like a physical object manifesting your happiness, or if you think a physical object is going to get you to where you want to be in life in terms of happiness and other things, you may be a little bit skewed on that front. So take the time to slow down, focus, and really think what's important to you when you're setting your goals. Second one would be is to identify your purpose. Find your why. Brian's huge on finding your why. And sometimes your purpose doesn't always align with your passion, and that's okay. But you really have to identify why the goal you're setting is important to you, why it's important that you achieve it, why it would be detrimental if you failed to achieve it, and why you've identified it. It's very important to identify those things, because you'll see it later on. Once you've identified them, it's going to give you, the foundation to carry through with them. Third thing would be to be specific. If you want to earn more money, how much more money? What's the dollar amount? You want to lose weight? How many pounds? Are you making this harder than it has to be, right? It should be a simple goal that you can clearly identify and that you can accomplish. And I encourage you to write them down. It doesn't do you any good to say you want to earn more money. If you get a 50-cent raise, are you happy? Did you accomplish your goal? Probably not, right? If you're making 50 grand, maybe you want to find a job or talk to your boss or take a promotion that bumps you to 60 or 65, right? You have to identify that endpoint. To leave it open-ended like that is kind of like, it's now become a lifelong goal, because all we want to do in life is make more money.
Yeah, there's nice 2 important things that right there that you said. The first one is definitely being specific. Like, you have to. And the second thing is actually writing them down. I'm not talking about just using an app. I'm not talking about putting it on your computer. Put paper and a pencil together and fold it up, and put it in your wallet or put it in your drawer. It's cool to also have it on an app or on your computer, but physically writing it down does something different in the universe. I'm telling you, it does.
And don't just write it and throw it in your wallet and never look at it again, right? Like, there is something to be said about continually reading it or turning it into like a mantra or saying it aloud once a day, or even, I don't know if that's not your thing, once a week, to remind yourself. I think there's something powerful in manifesting your own goal by throwing it out there and with passion, not just a, not just a Ben Stein, like blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You got, if that's how you read your goals, then maybe they're not the right goals. If you really want to land that house, or if you want to, whatever it is, be passionate about it, read it out loud, believe it, look at yourself in the mirror, whatever works for you works for you. But I think if you just write them down in January and then come December, you just break out that folded piece of paper that was in your wallet and be like, let's see what I got, you're probably going to be disappointed.
Right.
Um,
Like at
number,
the end of the year, you get a bag, like a
yeah, yeah,
present, and you're like, oh, my
yeah.
balls aren't in here.
I mean, if you do that and at the end of the year you hit all of them, well, then please come on our show and let us know your secret.
Yeah, please.
We would love to have you. Um, Number four would be to make a plan. What do you need to do to hit them, right? Do you need to wake up earlier? Do you need to work out? If you need to work out, how many times a week? Do you have to take like secondary learning courses to hit your job goals? Break down the goal into small, manageable tasks
Yeah.
that you can accomplish and gain momentum, right? Tim Ferriss says that the key to him setting goals is to set the bar low so that he can constantly over deliver and feel good, right?
Huh.
You don't do yourself any favors by not being specific and like pressuring yourself to like a time constraint. He talks about like when he writes his book, his goal isn't write a book. It's write, 5 good pages a day or 6 good pages a day, something that he knows that he can check the box every single day and feel good about doing it and gain the momentum to get his, accomplish the final goal. He said one time when he was writing a book, he was like, I'm going to have this done in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks came around and he was so far behind that he just felt miserable. And then another 2 weeks and then another 2 weeks. Well, the goal that was supposed to be done in 2 weeks took 6 months. And the entire time through the entire process, he was miserable and felt like a failure and was beating himself up. That doesn't do you any good. Set it low and have your manageable steps so that as you check them off and work towards your end goal, you really feel good about the momentum that you're developing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a way to prove it to yourself, right? So if you can lose 1 pound, you could
Yeah.
lose 5 pounds, you could lose 40 pounds.
Yeah.
If you want to eat healthy one night a week, you can do that 2 nights a week and then
Yeah.
3 nights a week. And all of these are nice checkpoints, proving it to yourself, building that support around you. It's huge.
Yep. And then the last one is where everybody seems to fail, right? You have to take action. Planning is fun, right? Like, who doesn't like to sit with a pad of paper and be like, I'm going to do all of these things this year? Yay, me, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you feel great when you're done. You're excited. But the execution sometimes sucks, right? Like, there's going to be pain, there's going to be suffering, there's going to be failures, there's going to be judgment. That's why when we go back to number two, if you've identified your purpose and your why, this is going to save you from feeling unmotivated and from giving up.
Yeah.
Because if a goal is, what's the famous saying, right? Anything worthwhile is difficult, right? If it was easy, everyone would be knocking this shit out of the park every single day.
Right.
So taking action and accomplishing these things, you got to callous your mind and be prepared to embrace the suck. But if you've identified your why, if these are your real goals, if you took the time to slow down and think about them, if you were specific, if you made them actionable, if you made them achievable, and you start getting this momentum, then that taking the action phase becomes that much more important. But, writing them down and throwing them out into the universe, good on you, man. If you've got that guardian angel or, that power that is in the universe that just somehow, some way looks over your shoulder and you kind of get lucky in everything that you do, man, good on you. But most of us have to work for it. And I think that's where most goals fall apart. And step number 5 is definitely embracing the suck and taking action.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you shared that method. We're on the same page with a lot of it. The only difference being is I had been to this point, one of those people who would just let it manifest, let it
Yeah.
come to me. Behind the scenes, I'm sure I was doing the hard work. I know when I was a young man and I was trying to buy a car, I worked extra hard. I know when I wanted to get my first apartment, I took on a second job.
Mhm.
There were those steps in there. The goal was get another apartment. I didn't worry about how I was going to get another
Right.
apartment. I just started going through those steps. And there's passion and fire in that, right?
Right.
When I came out of college, I was a man on fire. I was killing it. You couldn't stop me in my career. You couldn't stop me in my personal life. As you get older and you get the house, you get the wife, you got the kids, your career's going pretty good. You know what sets in? Comfort.
Yeah.
You know what's
Complacency.
the biggest killer is comfort.
Yeah.
Like getting comfortable will literally strangle you to death, and that's what it had been doing to me for these last couple of years. Which is why I decided to switch it up this year and actually write down my goals. They might seem silly, they might seem grandiose, but they're my goals and
Yeah.
they're things that I hold important to me. So if you don't mind, I'll share a couple of my own personal goals with you guys.
Of course.
I'll tell you how I'm doing reaching those goals, and maybe some of the steps that have inadvertently come a long way since we started this in the end of December 2020. And having good people in your life to support you. And that's kind of what we do at Verdicks. That's how this whole thing got built. We wanted to be a support team for the guys in our lives and for everyone else in our lives too. Today I had the realization that dudes aren't just men. There's chick dudes, and we invite them to the platform too. So yeah, being there, having a support team, you're not on your own. And the more people that are there to hold you accountable and hold you up when you need it, the better you're going to do. Let people in.
100%.
So I set up my goals in a couple categories. I have one for physical appearance, one for personal stuff, career, things to do around the house, and things that are just for me, stuff that, it's okay to be a little bit selfish about because I'm not always good at that. For physical, I wanted to be regularly exercising 20 to 30 minutes a day. And I've actually been doing that pretty good. I'm on a streak here and I do feel great. It's nice to be back in that swing of things. The second part was I wanted to be a size 32 jeans with a little bit of wiggle room in them. That one I'm not so sure is coming along. It's a lot harder to lose weight once you're a little bit older, but I still got a long time to go and I'm putting in the effort, and there's room for other opportunities. Work out a little bit harder, change the diet up, maybe start lifting some weights. What worked for me in the past might not work this time around. So it's still a goal and I'm still eyeing it up. On the personal side of things, I have a child, Nick, and he's underweight. And one of my goals for him is to try to do everything I can to get him to gain 10 pounds, whether that be seeing the nutritionist, visiting an endocrine specialist, whatever we got to feed him, whatever food I got to mix up, however I got to cook it, I'm in, so helping this kid get to 10 pounds heavier. With my wife and with the rest of my family, just getting us all to eat better, be healthier, have an overall healthier lifestyle. And we're making strides there. We have cleaned up our diet, and we're going to start doing walks as the weather breaks and stuff like that to get everybody involved. And then the last one on the personal side of things is getting the boys back in school and getting them to play soccer this fall. Now, obviously, we have a pandemic in place. There's not much I can do there, but I can get them prepped. I can get them ready to be in the classroom, to be well behaved, to help them with their reading and writing now so that when they get there, they can excel. So there's a lot of stuff you can do in there that I didn't think out when I wrote these notes, but as I'm trying to reach that goal, I can start to see the waypoints. And I think that that's really important.
100%.
On the career
100%.
side of things, I wanted to have some side income, and I wanted to launch this business, Verdicks, which is what we're doing. My goal was to have it even making a little bit of money at the end so that we could start some kind of charitable donation for Christmas presents, and we're getting there. We plan on launching in a couple weeks. I've learned how to build a website. I've learned how to edit videos. I'm learning how YouTube works, got the search engine stuff going. We're doing this kind of stuff tonight. So we're getting there. None of that was in my goal planning, right? But it's coming along and it's been really great. Your brain likes to have new problems to solve, positive problems to solve.
Yeah.
It doesn't like it when you can't pay your bills and you have to figure out how to make that work, but it likes this kind of stuff. So do it. And then just clearing a little bit of my backlog at work and taking on one or two big projects, one of which I'm actually kicking off on Monday. So making a little progress there too. At home, I wanted to put hardwood floors in my foyer. I'll get there. waiting again for the weather to break and for the right opportunity. It's not a great time to tear your house apart if you're going to be stuck in it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
So that'll come up. And then I want to design my home office. I've been kind of framing out the basement. I got all my supplies, and I'm going to set up a nice spot for me to actually do these, and a quiet place for me to work. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
The last section I had, pretty simple, the stuff that's just for me. I just turned 40 this year, and I have always wanted to ski at Jackson Hole. Thank you. Thank you. And my plan is to, by the end of this year, to actually be planning that trip. You know, I don't need to have dates in mind, but I want to know where I want to stay, how I'm going to get to the airport. If I plan out that trip, it will come to fruition. There's no doubt in my mind. I would also like to relearn to ollie on a skateboard and do a kickflip. That one is way harder when you're 200 pounds heavier than the last time you did it. Two more real quick. I have to work on being patient. I'm not a very patient person. I'm even less patient with my own family, which is terrible. So just trying to be a little bit more patient, to take that deep breath. Even with the stuff like working out, I didn't gain 40 pounds overnight. It took 5 years. It probably is going to take a while to take 40 pounds back off. It's just what it is.
Yep.
And then the last thing, I wanted to build out a family tree. I didn't know much about my family history, so I actually just bit the bullet, got the ancestry.com, built out this awesome family tree, traced my family back to the 1700s. It's rad. So those are kind of where I'm at with my goals, making a little progress. Some areas I could definitely ramp it up if I needed to. I have time on my side, but I think that these are things that are important to me. And at the end of the year, I want to hold myself accountable, and I want to be able to look at this audience and look at my friends and say, hey man, this is what I told you I was going to do, and I did it. So yeah, that's where it's at for me.
And just think where you'd be at if you didn't identify those things, right? You'd kind of be out in the ocean, like with no destination, just like a ship at sea.
Absolutely. We would have talked about verdicts for months and never done anything. I would never be back on that treadmill or the elliptical or out running with the dog. Nothing. Home office, nothing. Forget it. So yeah, you're right. If we didn't do this little activity, which was simple, it took less than an hour for me to do, and I reflect back on it quite often. So that's where it's at. Just put your goals down in paper. Give some thought to where you want to go, who you want to be, and what you need in life.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. Don't limit yourself. And if you don't meet your goals this time, do it. Keep going. Keep going. It's not over.
And if you have a support group like we do, share them and hold each other accountable. And you know, I think that goes a super long way too, because inevitably there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be hurdles. There's going to be times you just want to say, that's a stupid goal when really it's not, you know, and good friends, good family, the people that love you are going to keep you in check and keep you in line. There's a reason you wrote that down. Obviously you want to accomplish it. And, you know, someone that cares about you will put you back on course.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And if you don't have people like that in your life, because I'm certain there are those out there, seriously, reach out to us. This is what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a community for people to just share everyday struggles. I feel like there's not enough talking about everyday struggles. Every article that you read out there is about nonsense, about a princess who's no longer a princess, or a politician who screwed you over again. That's all nonsense. Focus on yourself, focus on your goals, surround yourself by people who can help. And if that needs to be us, join our community. I'm in.
Me too.
All right, brothers. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching our video. If you like what we're doing, subscribe, give us a like, and then follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and visit verdicks.com if you want to read a little bit more about goal setting, motivation. We have a ton of articles there. We're also shooting more of these videos. We're doing some dude reviews and dude feuds. Just lots of dude stuff. So, and as I said, dudes can be chicks too.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Until next time, shields
up.
All rise. The well-hung jury is now in session.